Hello, everyone. Mike Arnold here, co-founder, Path Trading Partners, along with Bob Iacchino. How is everyone doing today? Sorry, I had the markets up instead of the economic calendar. As I was reminded, good morning, Davey, and then ISM Manufacturing PMI 30 minutes after open, and that will most likely be market moving. Forecast 57.6, 57.1 prior, so do pay attention. That's 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern. Other than that, there's not much going on today. So today's a pretty quiet rest of the day. Good morning, Ken. Tomorrow picks up again. FOMC still baking in that 50 basis point hike for Wednesday and still in negative gamma territory. Down slightly, but this already set up a potential bottoming pattern that we will take a look at for going into the open. By the way, if you are new here, please do consider subscribing, ringing that bell, and hitting that like button. Longer term viewers, please come back, leave some comments, and like or dislike the videos, or just do something to get it wider distribution. So, hello again. All right, here's what I am watching going into the open. So again, we're still against the daily rotation zone, but setting up, watching, as I talked about with yesterday's live stream, watching for a potential reversal this week, especially Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We have this sloppy but valid double bottom here against the 4-hour rotation zone. That would trigger about 41.58.25, 41.79, 41.89.50, 41.99.75, and you see that would take us to the other side of the rotation zone. Also, do remember, as pointed out yesterday, we start getting above this area, we are into a clear path move. It's technically an advanced clear path move. So there's not a lot of stopping points from here. There are some stopping points behind, but look at this. The first target here lines up with that. The second target here, and the third target. So keep in mind with that. But that has not triggered yet, so it's not just rush out and buy. I am waiting for the open and to see how we react, and then I need to get above 41.59. Now, if we really turn around and push back down below the lows is 41.11, it's going to invalidate that pattern. So, again, keep that in mind. Setting up for that bounce. Nasdaq pretty much the same. You can see it on this 4-hour against the rotation zone. 12.980.25 would trigger it. 13,067.50, 13,111, 13,154. Also, as you see, into a clear path move. So what's interesting is a little breakdown zone happens before the first target. So this could be the riskier play versus the S&P, and it's got a long way off to go. Now, if it breaks down and retests this low area from earlier, this what is it? It's 12,766 pattern over. So it'll still be important if it breaks this point, but we can't use the targets. Then I'll start using the moves behind the clear path to map out my targets. Also, cycles on the 1-hour trying to put in a bottom, cycles on the 4-hour trying to put in a bottom, and cycles on the daily already turning up. Dow holding steady right here. No great pattern on the Dow. This is not a double. This is more a horizontal channel. Very sloppy breakout. So I don't have some great targets on the Dow besides about 33,180. I'm going to bump that up about 33,219, 33,200 to 33,219. Then you're into a clear path move. And I'll have to use the harmonics instead of the any other pattern. So short-term harmonics, they'll just give me minor levels, like I'd be watching 31,191. But if we get a nice rally and pause up here, then I will update the harmonics. If we break down below the lows, then we have the final target on the double, 32,724. So that's where it's going to be either a breakout or breakdown plays on the open. Other than that, I mean, the Dow and the Nasdaq and the S&P have those potentials, but they're not triggered yet, so there's nothing we can do with it. VIX is moving up, looking for a topping pattern above 35. Double still potentially in play on this VIX. So I will keep watching. Let me get to this one. It's still slightly in play, but if we push much higher, it will invalidate this potential double. So I'm keeping that in mind also. And the next major resistance I'd be watching is around 36.50. Good morning, options 22. Let's see what else is going on. Russell. Not much going on with the Russell. On any rally, though, major resistance is now coming in about 1882 to about 1888. And if we do push lower, 1832 is my next target downwards. If we look here on the 1 hour, this is just a really messy thing. Some people probably try to trade it as a bottoming pattern. Here's the targets if you want them. It still could be traded with this being the one side of the double, this being the other. 1886, so I'd be watching 1886, 1888, first target area, 1891 and 1896. Also, you have a clear path move up here in the Russell. DAX, no great pattern here. Now, longer term, I haven't touched on this in a while. I'm still very bearish on the DAX. We're against the rotation zone. We keep spiking in. This is the weekly chart. So any rallies are, from my perspective, to be sold. Up here, we break above this 14,065. Then we're 14,171, but we're against this flattening out rotation zone. But there's no great buy pattern here just yet. If we sell off below today's low, about 13,790 is the first support below there. Very minor support, and then 13,700. Crude selling off, rolling back over. Again, we're now in this consolidation pattern. I really don't have anything going on in crude. Commodities on a whole are breaking down. Like you can see it with gold this morning. Things are getting sold below 130. Then I'll start watching for a possible retest of 97.70 area. We have a little move down here that could be traded into. So that's the only thing. And on a rally, it's now against the 1 hour rotation zone, and it's choppy. So any rally, 102.70 would be my target on that. Gold, again, off 50 bucks. My next support level is coming in at 1852 to 1850. Again, still working on trading this around the core position, but there's no ads until it gets with this push lower, a bigger push. Then I'll be watching for a bottom coming up in the possible next week. Silver also pushing lower, as I said, and my next area is not till 22.21. So that's what I'm watching. Hands off until we get down there. There's some substantial support. We formed this double before down there, so that will be a very key level for me. Notes pushing down lower again. The double still is in play, but that's a long way off from triggering. And it looks like if we do roll over again, we could easily retest this 87.5 and then the 100% level, which would still keep the double in play. So longer term, as I said before, watching for a bottoming pattern. This is my bottoming pattern unless we really blast through the 118 mark. A 118.04, even trading down to that harmonic, keeps this pattern in play. Dollar index, pause inside bars so far. Break higher would be a retest of Thursday's highs, about 104 area, and then 104.47, then 104.98 are the areas up there. Is pausing, burning off its overbought condition, and you see holding the rotation zone. So if we start breaking below about 102.86, I will watch for that bigger pullback then. We already looked at the VIX. Tesla looks like a gap down. Next support is 830, and that's pretty significant. And then on a closing basis, we remember 869. A close below then favors a retest of this 87.5 to 100%. Now remember, with this gap down, most days people rush in for the gap fill, so make sure you do your gap harmonics from Friday's close, because that's what I will be watching for, is at least a potential partial gap fill. So my harmonics would go from the close on Friday down to slightly where we open, but there's still volatile, really moving around on the open. And if it attempts a gap fill and completes it, The next resistance area is coming in about 877, and then you're watching about 900 to 902. Keep in mind the rotation zone on the daily is up around 928, so that's your major resistance area on any more rally. But you are against the daily rotation zone again, so in my book, rallies are to be sold. Where do we sit here? When are we going to bounce? I've already talked. I'm expecting we got an 81, 82% probability for a bounce, especially front loaded to the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of this week. I already went through those potential bottoming patterns. If those don't trigger, then I'll be watching for some other pattern setups. Remember, 9 a.m. Central, big number coming out as pointed out by Davey ISM Manufacturing. What are your lower targets? I see 825 as major support. It's about 830 to me. 830. You could go 825. I mean, this is so volatile anyways. 825, 830 is the next target. Then we really break below there. Then I'm going to that 757, Ken. Is Boeing headed to COVID levels? There's nothing positive going on in Boeing right now. Now, is it going to COVID levels? We could easily see that. It's trading against very key support. It's got this support level 144.60 to about 139.83. We really break below this harmonic. Yeah, I could see it easily returning to COVID levels. The only thing I'd be watching for the upside, and this would be just very temporary, you still have a gap left behind. So if it does get a bounce, you have that gap, but then it'll be a rollover into the daily rotation zone and major support becoming resistance. So, and you do have this horribly, it might be a double here. That'd be the only other thing. It's close. It'd be the only other thing I'd be watching to the upside, but your only move, a front run would be above 157. Other than that, it would just be a pop play and then a rollover. Morning Rams of Fall. Let's see, what else do we want to look at? I think that's about it. So far, it's pretty quiet. I mean, now it's back. We're getting that little bounce, back green. So these bottom plays are still in play. Let's just check out what else on the 4-hour. Can't use any aggressive buy, so it's still just that the double play. And let me just check again the Nasdaq. There might be an aggressive buy above this first bar, but I'd just be using that double. Let's see. ON had earnings beat, 16.42% revenue beat, 2.01 gapping up, but it's still a semiconductor stock. Gap fill player, do you see a longer term move up? It would, for me, any moves the upside are to be sold and rollover plays still with here. You are against the weekly rotation zone. You're sitting down below the key support on your candle bodies. You still have this gap fill from before, from October. Okay, you still have this. You're against the daily rotation zone where you're up against there again, even if you popped up to the 50, which would be some of the highs from the 20th of April. You're against the 50, so I'd be just setting this up for a rollover play. This is an ugly bottoming pattern. If you get the only bullish thing I see, but you're against the weekly rotation zone, is that it is still valid, but it's got a lot to chew through, and I would only do it on a closing basis. So I would favor the downside even with this beat. And remember, semis, if you look at the SMH, longer term, we have a bearish pattern. That's actually down pre-market, so you're fighting the overall trend of semis, which is down. So again, you're trying to swim upstream with ON. All right. So I'd be watching today for that gap fill play. And that's going to Friday's close, not people mistake this. Keep this in mind. And I know you don't, Sterling, but a lot of people will start watching. They'll start watching the candle bodies. So it gaps up above here. They'll think this is the black to this part is the gap fill. It's to the close, which is down here. So make sure you do your harmonics down to that level. Just want to check. Didn't go through this yesterday. Value growth is trying to put in a little bottom. So if we put in a bottom of broad market, we could get a pop in growth versus value. That's what I will be watching for, but nothing great yet. This could be on this one, could be a potential double. It's very sloppy. And mega cap. Mega cap I'll be watching if we break above these little highs to see if we get some rotation if we put in a bottom into mega caps. Other than that, I am not seeing much going on. It's going to be very nimble trading going into that open. Let's just check this index. Apple, Microsoft, Tesla, Amazon, Google, down pre-market so far. And Apple, does anybody I saw something scroll across the news ticker, down slightly, but you still have this potential double and play a long way off, and you're back below the 200. So on any rally in Apple, I really want to see how it responds to about 159.50, 160 area with the declining daily rotation zone. Other than that, just not seeing much. There's going to be just interesting going into the open. Let me peek in back in the Dow. The Dow's one of the stronger ones holding up, about 26 basis points, and S&P and Nasdaq are virtually flat, up 10 basis points, 9, 8, 10. So that's my only play. Now, other than that, we'll just recap this afternoon unless something major happens at around lunchtime. But this is my only play I'm seeing in the Nasdaq and the S&P from the bullish side. And pay attention. 40 minutes from now, that's going to be market moving. So manage your stops and be prepared at 9 a.m. Central. With that, I'm going to finish my market prep, get another cup of coffee, and get ready for the open. So I will see everyone this afternoon. Thank you for being here. Have a great